What is up, everybody? Welcome to the official SkillWarz map editor tutorial. I'm your host, Impossybull, and in this video we're going to be talking about all the stuff you need to know about the map editor, downloading it, all the features you need to know to make your very own map, which we'll do in this video. Before we start, I do want to say that I'll put any clarifications, corrections, or updates in the description, so please do check the description. But with that being said, let's get started here. So to download the map editor, you want to go to SkillWarz.com. There'll be a link in the description to all this. Then you just want to go to the download section, and the map editor is a pretty popular download, so it should be near the front here. You can see map editor beta, or if you want to, you can just go to the categories map editor and assets, and it'll be in here, of course. The version of the editor I'm using in this video is beta version 5. So obviously things may look different if you're using a newer version. There's probably going to be more textures, more assets included, but it should be similar enough that this tutorial is helpful. So you'll want to click download this file, and I already have it downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again. But when you download it, just go to your downloads. You want to go to extract all, and it'll make an extracted folder here. And then what I like to do is just go in here and do right click, send to desktop, create shortcut. And then it gives me a shortcut on the desktop. So just open it up, of course. You, I think, do need to have an internet connection for this to run, and the reason why is because it checks to make sure that you have the most recent version. So if you don't have an internet connection right now, I don't know how you're watching this video if you don't have internet, but that's just something to be aware of. So the first thing is to have this window come up here. If you want to move around, you want to hold down right click, and that'll let you move around. And you can use WASD to move, normally, and then you can also move up and down with X and C to move up and down. And then whichever way you're moving, you can hold down shift and you will move faster. And one thing, especially, and I covered this in my how to optimize the map editor for a potato PC video, but if the map editor is running slowly, you can click this button to make it run a bit faster. And something else you can do is go to my documents here, go to SkillWarz, then, and this only comes up after the map editor has been opened once, you can open this config file. Just open with Notepad. And what you can do is set your frame rate down to like 30 or 60 or something. I think the default's 300. And then put quality level at 0, and that will make it run a lot nicer, especially lowering the quality level. And lowering the maximum frame rate will make it so it doesn't like burn up your computer, doesn't like set your GPU on fire type thing. Then just save. If you make any changes here, save and exit, and then just close and reopen the map editor. Anyway, so how you actually use the editor. To open the assets window, press tab, and you can also close it with tab. And this is where you choose different assets. If you're watching this far in the future, there's probably tons of assets in here, but in this one I only have this many. But you're often going to be just using this cube here, so you can press tab to close it. To open, to put the asset in the window, you want to hold down N and then just left click, and then you get these all put down here. To what you do want to do, this is especially if you're making a map that is kind of on a grid, just like not like super complex stuff, but you just planning out a map, right? You want to have stuff all line up. So the easiest way to do that, and I'm going to delete some of these here, is you want to snap objects to the grid. So this will tell you the snap position step here, and this is both for size, like when you're resizing things, which I'll show in a second, and position. So I'm going to put it at 1. So when I put this down here, it's these usually will already get snapped to the position, but sometimes not. So first thing you want to do when you put something down, hit this button up here, snap to position. Now when you do that, stuff will line up well. Like for example, if I want this to be the floor of my map, to resize it, I will press spacebar. So I just want to clarify this again. To resize to switch between resizing mode and moving or rotating or whatever mode, you press spacebar. Additionally, if you want to rotate an object, you can press R and T to change between rotating and translating the object. So just pressing R and T, and then so you know if you rotate it, then it rotates. As simple as that. And something else I like to change, and you'll have to change this every time you reopen the map editor, but the selection color, I like to put this as a much brighter blue, and sometimes even have it something like this. So that's a lot easier to see there than I had it before. And then the face color also, I like to have that be a different color. So now, if I press, remember I press space here to change it so I can change the sides. You can see very clearly what side I'm hovering over there because it's bright orange. So I like to change these colors up here, but that's all it does. It's just aesthetic in the map editor. So if I want to make this the floor of my map, let's say I'll drag this out by 29, so my floor is 30 long. And then I can drag this out by 12. And I do want to, let's see, 14. So now it's 30 by 15. I do want to say that this blue stuff here, all this stuff, this does not show up in game at all. In game, it shows up like this. There's just nothing there. It's just a ground material to help you place your map down. So what I do, especially when I put the floor of my map down, is I just turn this off, and then my map's floating in space, and this is exactly how it'll look in game. If you want to change the weather, you can change it here. I mean, yeah, just that. What's next to cover? So, if we want to put some walls down, so let's put another block down here. We get new, and you can see this doesn't line up. What do I do to make it line up? Boom, snap position. Now it lines up perfectly. And what I'm even going to do is move it like this, so it's not on top of my thing, but that's, who cares. So just move up here. Let's make my wall a bit high. And I do want to say that the map I'm making here is going to be a lot smaller than you'd want to actually make a map. This map is going to be basically unplayably small, but to keep this tutorial nice and short, I'm obviously, you know, not going to make a gigantic map. I just do want to say that, like, if you're following this like block for block or something, just don't. Not a huge point to doing that because the map you're going to end up with is super small. If you're following this block for block, just do things however you want. You don't have to make exactly what I'm doing because this map is probably not going to be very fun to play. It's just good to use as a tutorial map. So to change the texture of the ground, I can just go into here and change this to be green, and that'll be grass. And for a lot of things, you can put on a secondary texture. For grass, you can't. But for this wall here, if I want to make it light gray, I can put a secondary texture on. So right now it's a tile texture, so if I want to make the top of this tiled for some reason, I do, trying to remember, I hold down the I key, and then, so I click this here, get this tile texture. If I hold down I, then I get the tile texture on there. And if I want to remove the second material from any object, I'll just press U, and they'll all disappear. So, obviously we got a map, we got a floor, we got one wall. We want more walls. Easiest way to do that is to duplicate objects. So if you press O, it seems like nothing happens, but we just duplicated this object. So if I drag this over here, we can see that we now have two objects. Yay! Likewise, if I want to make this other wall here, what I might want to do is just duplicate this object, and that's a pretty good idea. So I'm going to duplicate it, then press R to rotate it. And after you rotate something like this, you always want to hit snap position, because sometimes the position's not snapped. See, there we go. We actually changed the position. It's just something. It's just how it is. When you rotate stuff, sometimes it's not snapped to the same position as you expect it to be. But anyway, once we have that done, we can, you know, just move it into place here. Pretty simple. And then shrink the size here. Press space to change between transform and between translate and the size change. And then we can press O to duplicate it again, and then just pull it all the way out here. There we go. We got 4 walls. Now if you want to put stuff besides walls or floors or blocks in your map, press tab, we get our assets here. So if we want to put some ramps down, we can do it pretty easily. We just, you can put one down like that. And then snap position again. I want to make this ramp a bit bigger, so I'm going to pull this up a little bit and come down below this ramp. Pull it down, pull it to the side like that, and then pull it across. Whoops. Oh, I guess I can show this off by, I hit the key by accident. If you press Q, this is how you preview your map. So you don't want to get too far in the map building process without previewing your map. And this is all the same controls as in-game and whatnot. If you hold down the key, the 6 key, the one above your T key and the Y key, you know, just the number 6 on your keyboard, it'll swap to the L96A1 class. And then if you hold down 5, you will swap to the M4A1 class. So L96, obviously, if you want to test out your sniper, you know how it looks. If you have like a sniper angle or whatever, you can change that. And then you just press Q again to exit. So we need to make this ramp a little bit bigger here, I think. What am I doing? Press space, there we are. And then I'm going to go do this and then press T to change the, press space, sorry, to change it back to this. So then what we want to do before we go any further is let's save our map. So, you know, obviously you want to save pretty often. Just go to save. We're not going to export it yet. That's to play it in game. We just want to save it so we can play it, save it as tutorial map 2. That's a pretty good name, right? And it'll tell you in the log that it successfully has saved. So let's say we want to duplicate this thing. We already know how to do this, hopefully. We just press O, then press R to change it to that, press T to change it to that. We just drag it in place here. And how far is this from the end? 7 blocks from the end. So I think that's centered there. And then if we want to put a thing in the middle here, we can do that. Just do something like this. Then you definitely want to snap position if you put it in a weird place like that. Lower it down. Make it like this. And there we go. If you want to select multiple objects in the scene, you can hold down Shift and you can either draw a selection like that, or you can just select multiple things at a time like that. And this is for, you know, moving things. It's good for moving things around and whatnot. If you want to change materials, I don't think that's supported right now in multiple selection. Let's put this as a nice shade of brown in there. I don't know. Never know what colors to make stuff sometimes. It's a hard thing to decide. I'm just going to use gray, I guess. So if you want to add some props in, not too difficult. Just press tab, select your prop of choice, and we can always just put a couple of these in there. So let's maybe put a couple here. Look at these walkways. Then if you're putting props in kind of weirder places, like let's say you want to have a plank here. So put one in. To rest this, I want to rest it on this and on this grass here. That's kind of hard to line up, but there's a tool that can help you. So you want to, let's say, rotate it. And this is the type of stuff where you want to turn off the snap here. As you can see, it just rotates way too much. I'm going to turn that off. But you can see that it's going to take a few steps to line this up here. What you want to change is the global space versus the local space. So right now we're in the global space. The local space will put the coordinates relative to exactly where this is here. So if I transform it, it will go down, not straight down, it'll go down at the angle that it already is. And we want to turn this off too. It'll go down at the angle that it already is at. You know, so I can kind of rotate it into place there, you know, probably somewhere around there, about right. Then I can just pull it straight down like that. And that's, I think, rotated a bit too much, so we can correct it just a bit like that. And then move it up a little bit. So that's a much easier way to do things than to have it in the global space. So I did want to point that out between the global space and the local space. If you want to put some ladders in, it's pretty simple. So grab your cube material there, and we want to put a cube in, and you want to snap position here, of course. And let's say I want people to, well, let's say if I want people to be able to get up here. So we can pull this out, and then put a ladder in right here. So you want to use the ladder block, of course, snap position, and then you want to put this at 0.25. Now the ladder block will use it, no matter what size it is, but just for ladders that are going to work well in game, you want to have it be 0.25 blocks thick, and then have it come up even with whatever's on top there. Pretty simple. This is the block that'll let people rise up there, but if we go into play mode, you'll see that it's actually invisible. The ladder works perfectly fine, but we can't see where it is. So what you want to do, for making ladders, simply just select this, select this, duplicate it, then change that material to this. Now this here, this chevron, is not a ladder by itself, but when you combine the two, it'll look like a ladder and it'll act like a ladder. It will, one second. I forgot one slightly important thing. Your ladder, you want it to come out 0.25 blocks past the chevron, not be even with it. Yay, now we have a ladder. And if you really want to, you can like try and make this super thin so it's like really flush against the wall, but I'm not going to explain that here. If you want to try that, you can. So our map is it's pretty simple, but if we want it to be just about done, we need to do a couple things before we are able to export it in game. And one of those is to put spawns down. So if we want to put some spawns down, I don't know whether to put the spawns on the top or on the bottom. Good question. Whoops. If we want to put some spawns in, simply change our thing to either blue or red. If you're making a team deathmatch map or a map for any team-based game, you need to put at least 6 of each color spawn in. If you're making deathmatch or gun game, it needs to be at least 10 blue spawns, and don't put any red spawns in, because no one, if you're making a free-for-all, just all blue spawns and at least 10 blue spawns. So we want to put some blue spawns in here. We need 6. And then, because they're facing the wrong way, the easiest way to get them turned around is actually just hold down shift. We just select all of them like that. And then what we can do is rotate, and just rotate them all like that. And if we need to shift them around, there we go. We got our blue spawns. Likewise, we just, for the red side, just put some red spawns down. Pretty simple. Now the map is almost done, but if we try to export it right now, it'll tell us to add a death barrier under the map. So what this means is, and for this you might want to turn your ground material back on. When people fall out of the map, they need to die. So you want to go to your cube and just put a cube down kind of here, just off the corner to one side of your map. And then when you're changing the dimensions of the cube here, just make it a bit longer than your map, a bit wider than your map, something like that. And then at this point, take the ground material off. Then you just want to lower this to be down, a few blocks lower than your map, something like that would be fine. Just something like that. Then you want to put it as the death block. And that will keep people from falling almost forever. They'll fall for like at least 30 seconds or something before the game kills them. This will make people die faster if they fall out of your map. So you always want to put this under your map, even if you think people can't get out. Another block you can use is there's a barrier material. It's called the block material, and this makes an invisible wall that people can stand on. Don't do this. Don't put one of these under your map. I'm just demonstrating what it does. There are times to use this, but not really on this map, so I'm not going to use one. So, and the only other thing is, so if I go into the map here, and I'm shooting my gun, actually let me turn my game volume down there so it doesn't get an echo. You can hear that it doesn't really sound like, it sounds like I'm outdoors, right? If I dip down here though, where there's walls all around me, it sounds the exact same. There's no difference between those, right? So what I do is I can duplicate, or maybe not duplicate, just put in a block here, snap position, and then you want to fill up the entire area. And we're going to put in what's called a sound material, an audio material. So this is completely transparent, but it'll have an echo, like a reverb sound when people are in it. So you can hear the difference here. Right, where you can hear that there's more reverb now. And honestly, when people are standing on this, they're kind of out in the open. So probably we should make this a bit lower, just about like that. So you can hear that when we are out of this, we don't have a lot of reverb, but when we are in this, we get more reverb. So, to export it now, so we can play it in game, first of all, just go ahead and save your map again, because you can't get your map file back from the export. So make sure to pick the right map, otherwise it'll overwrite some random other map. We're at tutorial map 2, so we hit save, and then we just want to export it. And keep in mind that wherever your camera is where the export's going to be, is where people are going to load into the map and they're going to see that. So don't make an export like with your camera in some weird place like this. You want to, there's no hard and fast rules, but generally I like to kind of have it be about here. You kind of have a nice picture of the whole map that's at an angle, people can see the whole thing. That's just kind of what looks good to me. Anyway, we're going to export this. Let's pick Team Deathmatch. We have our Team Deathmatch spawns, 6 of each color. And let's just, call it tutorial map, save that. If you have a very large map, it'll take a while to export, but this one exported pretty quick because it's not that large. So now we can play it in game. So if you want to play it in game, just load up SkillWarz, and the map will automatically appear in your maps list. If SkillWarz is already open, you can simply hit refresh to refresh the maps list. Just log in there. Just go to editor maps, and you can do, so we have tutorial map here, we just hit add. We can set it up however we want, save that. Get your stereotypical editor map name here, just call it join. And then you can either play it offline or online or just whatever. So we do online here, and we can see that we load right into our map. We're at one of the spawns, and this is our map. And like I said, it's very small. So to actually play this in game is going to be. Do I not have? I noticed my recording software is lagging a little bit. I may have limit frame rate. Let's put that at 60. That's a bit better. You guys had a bit of a laggy recording there. Now, no one's joined my lobby yet, but they can. They're just choosing not to. But yeah, this is how it looks. So, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I have more map tips videos like this. Not this long, usually. They're all much shorter, just covering more in depth some things I've touched on in here. But yeah, I read all my comments, so if you have any questions or comments, please put them in there. Be sure to share this video if you think other people would find it interesting. With that all being said, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day, and I will catch you later.